Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a review of Billy Summers by Stephen King. I hope you enjoy. Billy Summers was published in August of 2021. It's currently Stephen King's newest novel. I know he has another book coming out later in the year. But this book follows the crime genre. It's not a horror book, it's not scary, it's crime. It's more closer to his hard case crime series that he's been doing. So if you enjoyed those, you're going to enjoy this book. This book follows the main character Billy Summers, who is a hired hitman and ex-marine sniper. The story is of Billy Summers accepting his last hitman job before he plans on retiring. And the story goes through him accepting the job, undertaking the job, and then what happens after. The start of the novel is initially quite slow. We have Billy accepting the job, but the job itself isn't going to take place for a few months, but he has to establish himself in a new neighbourhood first and seem like just a regular guy. So it was quite nice reading the build-up for him for this event taking place, him just being a regular guy and not a hitman, but having all these stories that he could tell of previous jobs. During his attempt of being a normal person, he tells his local community that he's a writer and he's new in the area, looking for a change of scenery to help get over his writer's block. So I really enjoyed that part of the story. You had him living in present day as a current hitman, but through his writing of his own book, he was telling the story of his childhood and how he became a hitman. The book makes it really obvious as to when he's in present day and when he's in the past. So when he's writing his book and in the past, the writing's all in bold. So you can just tell at a glance, you're in his past. There's no room for confusion. It's really well laid out. The main character, Billy, quite early on in the novel, meets another character called Alice. I won't say how they meet. I'm not going to give any spoilers if possible. But the story then follows their friendship developing. I really enjoyed this. I think Alice brought out a new side of Billy that we hadn't previously seen, or we had just started to uncover as he made friends in the neighbourhood. I think the character of Billy especially was really well written. He is a bad guy. He is a hitman. He has killed people. And yet, throughout this novel, you feel like you root for him. He's the bad guy, but he's not that bad of a bad guy. There's worse bad guys. So you kind of feel sorry for him the whole way through. Everything he does, you're like, yeah, I understand why you killed that guy. That makes complete sense. I sympathise with you. But he's a bad guy, and I just think it was so well done by Stephen King. The character development for Billy, the character development for Alice as well. I was initially worried that she was going to be a bit of an annoying character, but she wasn't. She was amazing. Yeah, she was really good. But I do think Billy was my favourite character in this story overall. One thing that I really enjoyed in this book was there was a little reference to the Overlook Hotel. It was only quick. It doesn't spoil the story in any way. But yeah, the Overlook Hotel was mentioned and you were like, oh, I know that from The Shining. And I love when Stephen King does that. I love when any author references other works. That was really fun. I enjoyed that part. I think that might have been my favourite little bit. I think my least favourite part was probably towards the end. As the story's kind of being wrapped up, there's a lot of characters mentioned, and I struggled to keep track of who was who, why they were there, what their relevance was. But I think that's me personally. I'm really bad with character names. This book does cover a few rough topics. A few of the bad guys do some pretty nasty things. So I would recommend giving it a Google, checking the trigger warnings first. Yeah, if you're worried that you're going to be upset by anything, or if you can't find it on Google and you don't mind me telling you, I'm more than happy to give that information out. But yeah, some of the stuff in this book was rough, so I'd recommend checking that out first. But if you do like crime books, I definitely recommend this. As I said earlier, it's not a horror. If you don't want to read Stephen King because you're worried about being scared, then you should be fine with this. If you've read his hard crime case books and you enjoyed those, you'll definitely enjoy these. And I think if you enjoyed this and are looking for other similar things to read, I'd recommend Paul Tremblay's duology, The Little Sleep. That's also a crime book, and it follows a similar pattern to being a detective or being a mystery to solve and a criminal involved. And there's also the Mr. Mercedes series. I think that I know I recommend this every time and I'm so sorry, but I think this novel definitely gave me vibes of Mr. Mercedes. So if you've read this but not read that series, give it a go. If you read that series and enjoyed it and haven't read this yet, I would really recommend it. I think this might be one of my favourite Stephen Kings that I've read for a while. I do love all of Stephen King's books, but I think the fact that this wasn't a horror, it wasn't made to scare me from the start, made it feel different when I read it, and I smashed through it. I read it so quickly and I really believed the characters. I believed everything that happened in this book. I think it was really well written, and I think it's one of Stephen King's best novels for a while. I know he pumps them out really fast, so sometimes they can feel a bit, but no, this was really good. If you've got it on your shelf and you haven't read it yet, I definitely recommend you putting it to the top of your pile soon. That was my review of Billy Summers by Stephen King. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it's made you want to read it. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you've read it. I'd be curious as to how you feel about it. And I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.